because being skinny doesn't mean you look better, sorry to tell you, but also actually really happy to tell you.
Do you know what your fat friends do not want to hear from you? How much work, effort, and strain you are willing to go through in order to not look like them.
Now that weighted vests are trending, can we just all admit that there's benefits to being in a higher weight body?
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sam and I make weekly videos dissecting internet nonsense just like that. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. I am so happy that you chose to join me again this week for even more internet nonsense. You know what you're in for, and I'm glad that you're here. If you are new here, also welcome. I'm so glad you decided to join us today, and I hope that if you like what you see, you'll consider liking the video so it reaches more people and subscribing, because that lets me know that you want to join us over here in our little corner of the internet. And well, friend, we would love to have you. Today, as you saw at the top of this video, we are going to be diving straight in to the madness that is fat acceptance online in what I like to call a chaos compilation, because these clips, even though they can't carry a weekly video all on their own, when you put them together, they're just chef's kiss perfection.
What are you?
An idiot sandwich.
So let's go ahead and just dive straight in.
I've never been quiet since the day I've entered this earth, and I feel like if you're quiet when so many injustices are happening, not just here, but Palera, then I literally blocked my brother yesterday. I'm not speaking to my mom, my stepmom, my dad. I'm collecting them like Pokemon. I'm like, who can I block next? And it stinks, but I just think that you have to stand for something. And I think as you get older or mature, and I feel like you guys are already far more mature than I was at your age, you have to stand for what matters to you. And when you see things happening, you have to say something, in my opinion. And I understand that there's like safety concerns, and I have a lot of privilege as a cis white woman saying those things, but I can't stay silent. I never will. I said yesterday, like, the right people will find you. The right opportunities will find you. The right friends will find you. The right jobs will find you. And it's not worth a check to compromise your integrity.
Oh yes, I had to kick off today with a clip from Tess Holiday because it was not that long ago, I swear just a couple of weeks, that we were sitting down here together to talk about the train wreck that is her book, Take Up Space, y'all. And since the release of that book, for some reason, Tess is really thinking of herself as a teen whisperer, a guru of sorts. The problem is, her book included in this, she is giving teenagers really terrible advice. And just when I thought she couldn't outdo herself from that book, here we are. As you just saw, Tess was invited to Vogue's Teen Summit, where she sat on a stage in front of a room full of teenagers, presumably, and told them that they should block their parents, their siblings, their friends, and anyone who doesn't agree with them in the name of, and I quote, standing for something and not being quiet. Yeah, I'm gonna give you a minute to take this in, because when I watched this, I found it to be so deeply unsettling. Like, there is something so incredibly irresponsible about telling teenagers to block and cut off people, especially their close relationships, just because they don't agree. Teenagers are still building and developing their emotional and cognitive skills to overcome conflict, to build resilience, and form their own identities. Encouraging them to just cut off anyone who disagrees with them is not teaching them these skills, nor is it empowering them. It's teaching them avoidance. It reinforces the idea that being emotionally safe means never being challenged, never feeling comfortable, and never having to hear or try to understand different worldviews. And that is just not how the real world works. Both in Tess's book and now at this summit, she has given them the epitome of bad advice, and she's leading them to feel like they never have to try to learn to communicate effectively, set their boundaries, or repair their relationships. And it appears that Tess has forgotten that all relationships, even loving, sometimes have friction. And sometimes we need to be able to negotiate and communicate effectively to maintain those relationships. If teenagers feel like they never have to learn to navigate those moments, they're never going to grow into grounded and empathetic adults. And to wrap this up, because she's sitting here talking about standing for something and doing things and being so active politically, I would like to just point out that when all of the things were going down in Los Angeles with ICE and the raids and all the things that were happening, do you want to know where Tess Holiday was? She was sitting poolside and talking about how dystopian it was. Not helping, not talking about fundraisers, not providing water to people who were actually boots on the ground. She was sitting at her pool. I guess you could call that standing for something. And speaking of treating your family poorly, let's go ahead and look at this next video.
I don't really hear people talking about this anymore, but you know how Ozempic can like paralyze your intestines? That happened to my mom. Her stomach is partially paralyzed, and the crazy part of it is she's still happy to be skinnier, like, which is nuts on a few levels. One, because being skinny doesn't mean you look better, sorry to tell you, but also, actually really happy to tell you, but also like value something else about yourself other than your appearance.
Whew, this video made me immediately uncomfortable when I saw it, because can you imagine going on the internet and talking about your mom this way in a video she could potentially see? Like, I know that I picked on my mom a few videos ago about giving me bad eyesight, but like, this is a whole different level of like TikTok family takedown. Let's start with the obvious thing here. This is not this woman's story to tell. It's her mother's. It's her mother's medical issues and her mother's weight issues. And rather than recognizing that, she went ahead and made her mom's issues a cautionary tale to other people, and also took several digs at her, right, in order to get TikTok views and potentially internet clout if this video gets a lot of views or potentially goes viral. And like, it's just dripping with resentment. So I'm gonna go ahead and guess that her mom probably doesn't know that her daughter is using her this way. And what's interesting to me, watching this and content like this that continues to come out from fat acceptance activists, is their complete lack of empathy. Because why isn't she even asking questions or trying to have a conversation with her mom, right? She could come at this being so curious. Mom, why do you feel this way? What societal pressures have you faced? Why is it that you're having these medical complications and I can see how they're affecting you, and you still think that this is a good thing? What did carrying extra weight on your body mean to you, both emotionally, mentally, physically? What did it mean? Why do you see these things as better? I mean, it's just so baffling, and she is not alone. Other fat activists have made content similar to this. The thing that always gets me, again, besides the empathy here, is that she could have even just taken a split second to think about the nuance. And rather than doing that, she clicked record, made this video, and made her mom's personal struggles the butt of a joke for internet views. And what I keep learning over and over and over again is that it is so quick a process for people to lose their compassion as they chase these topics and make this content, seeking views and potentially money, by again belittling their family. And it's not just their family that they do this to. They also target their friends, just like this next creator.
Do you know what your fat friends do not want to hear from you? How much work, effort, and strain you are willing to go through in order to not look like them. We don't want to hear about how miserable you make yourself in order to not look like us. Oh, Kelsey, it's not like that. I just want to talk about my new diet or cleanse. Then not with me. Despite all the personal progress I've made, I still struggle. If you're constantly talking about how huge your thighs are, how you don't get to wear the same size that you're used to, or that your body is changing in ways you don't like, you never know who's listening in, and I guarantee you that your fat friends notice. When my beautiful, lovely friends comment about how ugly they perceive themselves to be, I would be lying if I said that one of the first thoughts I had wasn't, well then, gosh, what do they must think about me? And you're right, comparison isn't healthy, and a good part of that is on me. But maybe take a minute to think about what conversations might not be helpful to be having around the fat people that you love.
She came across wildly confident in this content. Do you think she sent this directly to her friends? If you were her friend and you saw this video in the wild, how would it make you feel? She's making herself the victim of a conversation she's overheard. And the biggest issue for me with this entire talking point is that they are continuously arguing in fat acceptance that thin and mid-sized people must censor themselves and not share any dissatisfaction with their own bodies or their own lives or their own experiences. A, because they don't matter, but also because fat people are so fragile. They can't handle real-life human conversations without internalizing it and making it about themselves. They consistently paint fat people as perpetual victims of normal human interactions because we all know that having body image, self-image, all of those issues are not limited to a singular size, shape, height, weight. They just aren't. Thin people are allowed to feel insecure about having big thighs or having a little bit of belly or feeling a little bloated because here's the thing, and again, I feel like this isn't new, and I can't believe I have to say it out loud. The beauty standards that fat acceptance claims to be fighting against, they affect everyone, not just fat people. It's not fair to ignore that fact, because when they do, they often end up making content like this, where they're essentially telling their friends, your pain isn't valid because it makes me feel uncomfortable. Real friendships, and God, I hope Tess Holiday is listening alongside this creator, are about being able to build trust. Trust to know that you can vent and share things with your friends, and they're going to hear you and not make it a competition about who has it worse. Because that's not what this is about. They want to vent about themselves the same exact way that this creator might want to vent about herself, that you might want to vent about yourself, that I might want to vent about myself. That's what friendship is about. It's not about internalizing other people's problems and making ourselves the victims. Because when we do that, we end up looking like this person. And to put a little cherry on top of this cake here, let's go ahead and take a look at this next video because it's going to be pretty intriguing to listen to after everything we have just seen and heard so far.
I would hold your hand while I say this, but I'm not going to because you're an adult and you should fucking know better. It's not normal to be promoting fear of fatness. It's not normal for your greatest fear to be simply existing in a larger body. It's not normal to be policing other people. It's not okay, especially in a society that has an administration that directly profits and benefits from the marginalized communities shrinking their bodies and taking away their brain power. Which is, by the way, what happens when you restrict your food intake. You are less likely to make good decisions. You are less likely to take care of those around you when you are unable to take care of yourself. It's not normal to be looking at someone across the street and have your thought be that they are less than you because of the size of the body they exist in. That is not any more normal than judging them for any other physical reason. It's normalized. It is not okay. Going around talking to your friends about your biggest fear being becoming a person who lives in a larger body is not healthy.
Okay, now that you've seen the whole thing, let's go ahead and focus in on this part right here.
It's not normal to be policing other people.
Isn't this just ironic? Because all of the rhetoric we've talked about today and on the lifetime of this channel is coming from this same online movement, right? Fat acceptance and fat liberation and body positivity, they're all commingled at this point. And they're all coming from the same place. And here we're being told it's not normal to police people. But have the other creators we've just listened to who exist in the same online space as this woman, have they not been policing people? Have they not been telling them that they don't look better skinny? That they should learn to love something else about themselves? That they should censor their conversations? I mean, golly, you cannot make this stuff up. This video piqued my interest right away because of the smug, self-righteous tone of it all. But I ended up staying and I locked in when we got the conspiracy sounding line about this administration and the way that it profits off of marginalized groups. Besides being incredibly vague, because what does she mean by administration? Is she talking about US politics? Is she talking about diet culture, wellness culture? There are so many things that could fit into this sort of vague description. This was done because, again, they're trying to conveniently roll all of these things vaguely together into one convenient villain for them to fight. Then she takes this shaky, vague idea about the administration and rolls it immediately into another shaky claim, which is that reducing your calorie intake reduces your brain power. And I'm gonna try to keep it together here because they're always just making me roll my eyes into the back of my head with these arguments, because over-restricting can certainly affect your brain's function, right? Eating in a slight calorie deficit and losing weight at a moderate pace, as recommended by most physicians, is not the same. They're not the same. And so she's just equating them, again, as an easy way to bolster her argument and make it feel stronger. When the truth is, it is so incredibly weak. People who are losing weight are not incompetent and they're not brainwashed. People can lose weight and still respect fat people. People can want to change their own bodies without automatically hating someone else's. I feel like these concepts are not rocket science. Someday, maybe someday, they'll get past these things, but today just unfortunately is not that day. And we're just watching them, again, make this content over and over without actually ever learning anything or moving forward. And now, for our finale, I have saved the best for last for you today. Please enjoy this short but piping hot take.
Now that weighted vests are trending, can we just all admit that there's benefits to being in a higher weight body?
See, I told you that I saved the best for last. And I meant it, because girl, what is this? What is this? Again, I think we've got a person who's trying to give us a quippy little soundbite, something that could potentially go viral or be picked up by other creators. But when you stop for even just a split second to think about what this person just said, her entire little argument just falls apart immediately. Because she's essentially saying, see, all of you people, you mocked us. You mocked fat people. And what we knew deep down all along is that you wanted to be just like us. And that's why you wear weighted vests. And that comparison makes absolutely zero sense. A weighted vest is a training tool to temporarily increase resistance. Athletes will use them for very short bursts to help build endurance and strength. And then guess what? They take them off. This is not the same thing as carrying 50 to 100 extra pounds of weight on your body all the time. They're not the same, because when you are overweight, your body is having to manage that weight with your joints, your metabolism, your organs. They're having to adjust to that weight. And chronic excess weight doesn't have the same endurance and strength benefits that wearing a weighted vest for a short period of time does, right? We know, because there are mountains of evidence, that extra weight on the body for long periods of time causes extra stress to the joints, connective tissue, and even cardiovascular system beyond what would be normal wear and tear. And I think for me, again, saving the best for last, I did not think that I would find a human being who genuinely believes that there is some sort of secret athletic advantage to being overweight. We are really living in the weirdest timeline, aren't we? All right, that is all I have for you all today on this topic. And at this point, I am so genuinely curious to know what you think. Had you seen that Tess Holiday was invited to the Teen Vogue Summit? What do you think about her advice to them? Is it solid advice to tell teenagers to treat their real life like social media? Or is it the worst advice you've ever heard? What do you think about the way that they talk about their families and their friends on the internet? If you were their family or their friend, how would you react if you saw this content in the wild and understood that they were talking about you? Would you want to be friends with someone if you knew that they were talking about you like this on the internet? What do you think about the idea that fat people need to be shielded from normal conversations? Is it weird for them to argue that they can't listen to anyone else's complaints about their own bodies without internalizing it and making themselves the victim? What do you think about them not wanting to have their bodies policed while simultaneously trying to police everything about everyone else? And finally, most importantly here, what do you think about the idea that people who wear weighted vests are secretly trying to admit that they too want to be fat? Are you going to ditch your weighted vest and just permanently gain 50 pounds? Inquiring minds need to know. So I do really hope that you will leave your opinions for me in the comment section down below. And for all my internet friends out there who may not feel comfortable leaving your opinions in an internet comment section, I see you. Go ahead this week and leave me some sort of animal emoji. I was thinking specifically zoo animals because these takes are so wild, but any animal will do. As always, thank you all so much for being here with me this week. I will see you in the next one. Bye.